Levi's Karthus. On October 15th, 2022, during the group stage of Worlds 2022, GAM Esports were in Group C, and they were currently 0-4 in the group stage at Worlds. GAM Esports knew they were out since it was nearly impossible for them to get out of this group since they have just lost 4 games in a row, and so all they were trying to do was force a win. They were up against Top Esports, who were surprisingly 1-2 in this group, and in order to end the dreams of the LPL, they had to defeat them. And this is what happened.
They can turn for the kill, Dane's dead. Yes, they go for Tien. They've got him on top of it. Styled is going for the kill, but he have the damage, needs to rend, gets the shutdown. Whoa! Jackie Love steals the dragon, and with Elder, Knight goes off. BA left alone. Levi misses the most important smite of his year.
Teleport coming in, they can keep the minion alive.
Needs to walk up and cut the wave.
Oh my God!
Dying to get the cannon off the Nexus turret. He just needs Levi to respawn. He's a jump in right now.
He needs to
get it off of it. That'll get it off the backdoor bonus. I think he walked into range, but he is very tanky. He'll buy some time, and backdoor bonus will eventually fall. He'll die to Elder, but he bought enough time that I think GAM can live. Levi's up in 1 second, but the turret is rolling with the new wave. With Katie, can he find the stunts? Wayward still on it. Wayward still hitting. Stays alive.
They get another chance. GAM fighting. They're running back out of the base. Can they go Nexus to Nexus? 45 seconds. 40 seconds on both the death timers.
These are not the maximum timers. These are not the maximum timers. They're 50 at the very highest. I don't think they can get the entire base. They can try for something. The cheers, GAM erupt here in the Hulu Theater. They will get a mid-wave. But it is so hard to play with the Nexus turrets. If someone drops a ward in your base, double TP, the game just ends.
20 seconds on the carries coming from top.
I think they got to back off and try to kill the Baron here, right? Not gonna get the end. They're gonna try.
They're TPing and try to end. It's 10 on Knight, 10 on Wayward. And we're going Nexus for the life. Will it be enough? 10 comes across. Tien hitting as hard as he can. Looking for it now. On to the Nexus they go. Will it be the Esports pulls off the upset.
Take a bow. Take a bow. They go Nexus to Nexus. GAM get their first win. New Worlds.
And they stay alive. The chance, DRX, and everything else to go their way, and they can tie break for getting out of this group.
The dream is alive for Vietnam. The dream is alive.
This win surprised the entire Madison Square Garden crowd, as there were deaf roaring screams celebrating their win. This brought major traction to Vietnam as a region and highlighted the best league personality person in the scene, known as TK Nguyen, showcasing his love for Vietnam. Although this win didn't allow GAM to move on to the quarterfinals, it left a lasting impression to everyone, as this was one of the best games in League of Legends history, where Levi is now known as the Karthus Press R God and the level 6 Nocturne God. I hope you have a nice retirement, Levi. It was nice seeing you play. Mao Rang's Kick. Rogue were the #1 seeds coming from the LEC at Worlds 2022. They were a strong, dominant team, beating teams like G2, Fnatic, and MAD, who were the toughest opponents at the time. They were able to beat DRX and GAM in their first week at Worlds. Now, their only game left in week 1 was against Top Esports, who were surprisingly 1-1, losing to DRX. If Rogue won this, they would be the first team in LEC history where they would go 3-0 in their group. Mao Rang would then choose Lee Sin in this game. And then, this is what unfolded.
How he first managed to debut in the LCK all those years ago. Was playing absolutely amazing Lee Sin.
Lee Sin into Trundle 2 feels like you always have so many options for playmaking. Like, you can really style on him. Vision, and then lie and wait. Odo and Trimby, the special agents.
Yeah,
here comes the
dive
turret.
out. Yeah, in goes Trimby. That is the quickness getting one onto Mark. Oh my God! He's an absolute god. They'll tidy up the fight. Rogue now looking to close this one out. The inhibitor taken. Knight is still alive. I might have been speaking too soon, but this is 5 versus 3.
European fans rally behind Rogue. They've taken down the LCK. They might just take down the LPL.
Some analysts might say an upset. I say the first seed of Europe has done exactly what we expected and goes 3-0 in their first week of groups. Unless we would find something, not going to be able to. Knight, he is going to be put into the fountain as the Nexus will fall.
They've done it. They're 3-0 in their group. The LEC champions managed to pull it off.
Although the play wasn't that shiny, Maorang destroyed the hopes of the LPL and would make history going 3-0 in their group for the first time in LEC history. Although they would have a very shaky week 2, they would escape groups and move on to the quarterfinals. Faker's 100th game at Worlds. During week 2 of Worlds group stage, Faker would play his 100th game at Worlds against Cloud9. T1, who are currently 4-1 in standings, would get out regardless of if they win this game or not. Cloud9, on the other hand, were already out and played this game just for fun. Faker would pick Sylas, while Jensen would pick Akali, and the game went downhill for Cloud9 real fast as every lane was getting destroyed, and while C9's base was getting destroyed, Faker was chasing Jensen to prevent him from recalling. This would lead to Jensen making one last ditch effort to solo kill Faker. But Faker had other plans.
It's not pretty. Cut the tape. All right. Oh, wait, here we go. The 1v1. Honorable 1v1. Jensen up currently 2-0. Faker, can he bring it back? Jensen, can he take the best of 5 against Faker in the 1v1? Oh, he does. That's all that matters. Can he get it? Shuriken flip. Golden. Can he take the best of 5? Oh, Faker coming back. Faker with the stop.
This would be Faker's 100th game at Worlds and a win over Cloud9. Pyosik's mind games. Pyosik was considered a terrible jungler by everyone before Worlds started, as in the regional qualifier, whenever he was subbed in, their team lost. Juhan in the LCK was a much better jungler than Pyosik was. However, when Pyosik was at Worlds, he was a completely different person. In the quarters and semis, Pyosik would somehow outclass the opposing junglers, as in a Game 5 against ADG, the defending world champions. Pyosik on Sejuani would walk up and steal the dragon with no effort, which would lead to Zeka popping off.
Can land the poke to potentially be a game changer.
Spam Q's goes ulti back up, 4K health, should be a clean smite. Whoa, it's gone! Pyosik gets the Ocean Soul!
He would similarly do the same thing, outplaying Gen.G's jungler Peanut in the semifinals.
No TP is the 4v4 as well. They're trying to force the fight. It could all come down to a 50-50. Pyosik versus Peanut in the pit, but they're trying to zone him away. Doran already getting chipped away. Toby running the fight to the side of DRX. Redemption cutting down, but Peanut, no! He's buying time. Pyosik, you madman, you genius, holding on to hope. A lamb's respite, indeed, buying the dragon a brief break so they can take it down in the end, but still, Toby remains standing.
These moments will forever immortalize how good Pyosik was, and add on to that he won Worlds later that year. Deft's last dance. Deft is the legendary player who has been a part of League since the very beginning, started playing in 2013. Deft was always an unlucky player, never making it past quarterfinals and just barely being able to lift the Summoners Cup. At Worlds he would do something that is called in the community as a Cinderella story, and this was considered Deft's last dance. But before that, Deft would have to qualify for Worlds, as in the LCK, DRX were considered a 6th place team and were in the regional gauntlet fighting for the life for that last spot at Worlds. They would barely beat KT and LSB, with both games going to Game 5. Once they qualified for Worlds, they would then sweep the play-in stage and then qualify as the first seed in their group. DRX would then have to play in the knockout stage against the defending world champions and Deft's former team, Edward Gaming. There were many things that happened in that game, but the one that the community remembers the most is this play.
They send more. Sedge gets the stun, but inside the pit, they're still playing for Baron. It's secured, but Deft kills turret number 1. He kills turret number 2, and the Nexus is in his eyes, and he's gonna get the inhibitor is back up! What? He cannot get the stun. No way! Oh my God, Deft, no! The game was
us from falling.
It's just insane, and the stop on the Aatrox as well. The stop on the Aatrox, you have to wonder how much faster could it have gone down. Would they have had the extra damage with the Aatrox here to actually get the kill? I think they would have for sure. So the Sejuani stopping the Aatrox really made all the difference there.
Oh no! It's so painful to watch.
It's so close, and Def loses everything here. He loses the TP, loses the GA.
I can't believe it. I've never seen that in all my years.
With that depressing loss, DRX would have to reverse sweep EDG if they wanted any chance to stay alive in this tournament. And they did just that. DRX would reverse sweep EDG with them advancing towards the semifinals, where they would face the Goliath of Gen.G. But DRX weren't afraid, as Zeka would pop off and show that they want to go to the World Finals, making them the first play-ins team to ever make it to the finals. In the finals against T1, the series would go back and forth where it would be forced to go to a Game 5. And in the draft, Barreled would pop out a pick that would absolutely stun the casters.
Def smiling. Is it Bard? Is he going to go for the Bard in Game 5? Yes! I love this guy's confidence. Barrel doesn't give a crap.
This game would then extend out to 40 minutes, where it would all lead up to one last Elder Dragon.
Slightly reset. Gonna come down to a smite fight. King and the ult is off. Barrel has the ultimate back up. No carries on the flashes. Look at the trap line. Look at the Caitlyn. He's trying to stun him away. Owner goes in. Owner is down. The Drake secured. T1's jungle. Trying to do it. T1's going to the base. They're going to the Nexus. Can they do it in time? Kingen comes back. Elder Drake at the ready. But what can he do? Q3. No damage just yet. Elder Drake. The execute. Sail is down. DRX. Hold on. Get forward. Carrier wants to hit the wave. Kingen goes to the world ender. Gumayushi is dead. They have been doubted. They have been discounted. They have been dismissed. But DRX are your 2022 World Champions.
This win allowed the 10-year veteran of Def to finally lift the Summoners Cup and complete the Cinderella story, and is now considered the best underdog run in World's history. DK versus Gen.G. On October 23rd, 2022, DK would be playing against Gen.G in the 2022 quarterfinals. This would be the 6th time these two teams play against each other that year, and these teams would always deliver, making the game go to the maximum game count. And this game one was where Canyon would pick the notable Kayn, surprising everyone, even the casters.
Completely. It's also relatively short range against powerful engage here from the Gragas and from Lysandra, so Chovy's going to have to play this very, very well. But it does give them the ability to side lane, and it gives them the ability to...
Okay, Canyon! Kayn!
Gen.G would then slam DK in games 1 and 2. But in games 3 and 4, Showmaker would absolutely gap Chovy to force the series to a Game 5. This would make Canyon bring out the Kayn again in Game 5 and find this angle.
For his opportunity, Moonlight Vigil is going to find nothing. On the flank is Canyon, but God, the scan of the week. Darwin Kia, they found it one more time. Chovy, he goes golden, is now Peanuts trying to do it. Can Chovy get there? Dom needs to know he's not going to. And Darwin Kia, they may have found their way back in, and they might have just won the series.
Unfortunately for Showmaker and DK, Ruler and Lehend would shut down their dreams of beating Gen.G and making it to the semifinals.
Canyon now fighting towards this backside. Peanut back towards the rest of his teammates. Gen.G still needing to get out. Another Umbral Trespass is going to come in. The ulti brilliant from Peanut this time as Canyon gets another double knock-up. But it is not the 3-man, and it doesn't have the follow-up.
Go in.
Dom still has ultimate available. They don't quite know where he is now, they do. And now Noguri on the in the back line. Peanut trying to get him out. Scatter the Weak connects. And there's the Moonlight Vigil immediately. Chovy goes golden. Doran gonna do the same thing now. It's, oh my god! Chovy gets rid of Canyon. But the answer is still there. Dom Ruler. Can he do it? Yes, he can. Ruler turns it on its head. Oh my god! Quadra kill. And Ruler will get past the quarters. He will take Chovy with him. And Gen.G have done it.
Ruler takes over the game! The quadra kill in the moment
semi-finals.
This series would then be considered one of the best series at Worlds of all time due to how entertaining it was and how intense the games were.